Hello and welcome back to Berserker. As you can see, we're actually in a battle with the person that was attempting to chase us down. And you can see here they have 188 combat strength. And if this guy had joined in at the same time, we probably would have had some issues. But thankfully, this one decided that it would be a better idea to head off and fight some bandits instead of assisting their friend. So, seems like we're in luck. Anyway, let's get in here and see if we can do some damage. Obviously, I'm going to want to try and improve my one-handed weapon proficiency, because I already have two-handed maxed out. I already have all the perks associated with it, so the only thing that I can do now is focus on one-handed and see what we can do after that. Anyway, let's see. Oh yeah, not a big fan of this weapon, I gotta say. I was thinking about it after the previous episode, and I thought, this one-handed weapon is... It's a little bit... I mean, it's okay, but it feels very weak, if you know what I mean. Like, when I'm using a two-handed, I mean, obviously you can't compare a two-handed to a one-handed. It's just not going to work. You know, how can you compare the two? You can't. But generally, I'm using a one-handed right now, and I'm thinking to myself, can I do damage? You know what I mean? It's just like, it doesn't feel powerful, even though I have a pretty decent skill in one-handed. I don't have the best, obviously, but I have much more than you'd expect from someone that's primarily used two-handed most of the time. So, oh, now that's some damage, but I hit him in the neck, so obviously that's going to happen. Anyway, let's move my guys a little bit closer. It seems like the enemy is actually coming towards us, amusingly enough. I don't know why they would do that. I think that is a huge mistake on their part, but I guess that's good for me, because then I'm going to be able to do some pretty decent damage. Oh yeah, hello. Yeah, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Okay, yes, hello there. Let's try to be a little bit careful then. Yeah, that actually seems to be the case. One of you did say that maybe he seems a little bit too tall now. Well, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Obviously, you have to bear in mind that if a character has a larger in-game model, then they're going to be taking steps that are much larger, and as a result, their animation speed is going to be slower than that of a person or character that is shorter, of course. It's how it works when you see two wheels and one wheel is really, really small. You're obviously going to see that wheel turn a lot faster than a larger wheel, but they're going at the same speed. You know what I mean? It's that same kind of thing like that. Whereas in this, it may seem like we're walking slower, but this is generally the speed I believe that we've been running at the whole time. I mean, I don't know that for sure. It could be a case of, me just not having enough information, but as far as I'm aware, height doesn't make any difference to your overall statistics or anything like that. It just gives you maybe a slight advantage in terms of being able to hit people up various heights and various elevations. So for example, if you're attacking someone and they're on a mount, it's probably going to be easier to hit them if you are a taller person. Whereas if you're a shorter person, then it's going to be easier to kill the mount itself and to potentially avoid taking damage from the rider as well. So obviously there's that. So if you take all of that into account, it really depends on what you want to do. Because if you want to avoid damage, I think being a smaller character is a good idea. But if you want to do more damage, then maybe being a larger character is the way to go. But I think what I'm going to do is I will head into the character creation screen and we're going to just try things out a little bit here. Anyway, there you go. We did actually reach tier 4 in our clan, which is pretty fun. I like that. And we also have a couple of people that have leveled up. And, oh yeah, now that I have this... Now that I have this perk, I'm always consistently now thinking to myself, what can I do here? It's obvious that I have way too much stuff. And it's just going to... There we go, okay. That's much better. So now we can just let all of that go, and then all my people are going to be gaining a decent amount of experience, which is actually pretty good. I think it's a good perk, don't get me wrong. I just think that it kind of promotes a little bit too much micromanagement. I don't know. You know me. I'm not really someone that really wants to get into doing a huge amount of micromanagement all the time, and I feel like micromanaging every single time after every single battle, I feel like that is a little bit, I don't know, I feel like it disrupts the flow of the game quite a lot. So, I think it's a cool perk for sure, but the way that you have to do it by sorting through all of the loot and everything, it kind of puts me off a bit. But maybe that's just me, I don't know. Maybe you're okay with that. I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna just sell what we can here. And then I'm going to... I would like to take on this vassal here, but not Monchug himself. I mean, I think I could probably deal with Monchug. Don't get me wrong. I think I could probably deal with him. He does have a pretty significant and pretty deadly force. Because you can see here, he has 29 Dark Khans, he has 20 Heavy Lancers, he has 11 Heavy Horse Archers, and 14 Marksmen. They're all very high tier, which is problematic. But then, if you take a look at the lower tier end of things, he has 30 altogether, tier 1 and 2 troops, maybe a couple of extras here and there, but, you know, generally the Khuzait units, as you can see, has 14 nomads and 16 tribal warriors, but most of these are, of course, mounted, which is going to be a pretty significant problem. So I'm going to just wait here for some time and see what happens. Okay, they're going in different directions, which is quite nice already. Did we gain a perk? No. We didn't gain any perks. Okay, roguery skill, we've obviously taken a look at that in the previous episode. We know what kind of perks are upcoming, and hopefully we're going to find one that is actually good for us. And now, before we go in any further, I'm just going to make him a little shorter, because obviously he was like this before, right? He was like this before, and then I made him like this. So that is a significant... Look at that height difference. That's insane. That's a pretty big height difference. So let's put it in the middle, eh? Let's put it in the middle between those two and see what happens. I wonder whether weight has a you know, like a gameplay effect as well. Whether, you know, if you're heavier, are you going to move faster? I don't know. I mean, like, are you going to move slower if you're heavier, and if you're going to move lighter if you're... I mean, move faster when you're lighter. Oh, God. All these... yeah, never mind. All these, you know, terminology words and everything is just kind of annoying me. Anyway... There we go. Let's do this. It's snowing. Move! Hello there. Move! Yeah, I'm not too... I don't mind it. I don't mind it when it's snowing so much. Anyway, let's move my forces into position. I do want to continue leveling in my one-handed, so I'm going to try and do a little bit more this time. But yeah, this is obviously... I mean, you could see my animation speed is pretty much faster than it was beforehand. Because of course it is. I mean, we are a smaller character now. Okay, I don't want to really get hit by this guy. Okay, I'm doing some damage to him. Can I take him down? Ah, never mind. Where are the enemy forces? They're actually... What? They are super far away, actually. I thought they were just over the ridge here, but apparently that was mostly the enemy cavalry that they sent ahead, which is not exactly what I wanted, but oh well, never mind. Should I do zoom? Let's do zoom to get all the way over there faster. This is going to be hilarious if they actually kill me like this. Okay, wait a minute. Come on, guys. Get over here. This is one way to speed things up. I think that's pretty fun. Okay, here we go. Can I maybe do something here? Guys, can you just move forward without me having to tell you every single time? I mean, generally, yes. You know, if I tell them to charge, then of course they're going to do that. But I always thought that I was telling them to move a little bit further than they actually end up moving, you know what I mean? So, whenever I'm looking at them and they're standing, what, 100 yards away from where they need to be to eliminate the opponent, and then I'm like, what? Did I place them there? And I must have, right? I must have placed them there, but it would have been nice if they... if they would have been a bit closer, to be honest. Oh, well, never mind. Okay, so... Oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna die if I continue to do that. Let's not do that. Okay, I'm gonna try and eliminate these guys. What's going on with the... Wait a minute, do you see that? You see the leaves or the grass that's coming up from the horse? That is actually hilarious. It's snowing. They should not have grass particles coming off their hooves. You see that? Do you actually see that? Yeah, I think you see that. It's not me just hallucinating, right? Should be, you know, visible. But yeah, that is actually hilarious. I think that is obviously a bit of a visual display bug there that needs to be fixed. But it's good that, you know, we saw that. Huh. Interesting. Oh well. Zoom zoom. I don't really mind if I die. If I die right now, then that's just how it has to be. Unfortunately, I did not get any one-handed weapon proficiency because we generally just took way too much damage, and we did not have a very... we didn't have a very good opportunity to get in there, you know, to get stuck in there in any way, shape, or form, because basically every single time we would attempt to do so, we would just get absolutely murdered by their ranged units. That was the main problem there. Anyway, I'm just going to take the most expensive pieces of armor, and hopefully that's going to be enough to... There we go. To finally allow us to proceed onward and not waste any experience, because obviously the red number indicates that it's going to waste a bunch of experience because it's capped out quite a bit there. Anyway, I think this height is a little bit better. Is it just me? I think it's a little bit better, maybe? I'm not entirely sure just yet, but I suppose we'll find out eventually, and hopefully Monchug's not going to be anywhere in the area here. No, it seems like he has very much moved on now, which is good. And now I can go over here, sell all this stuff, and we might as well sell this stuff as well. Very nice. Okay, so this guy actually has a quest, but it's one of those can't sell their products quests. So I'm going to try and see if I can maybe raid Epinosa. I would like to be able to do that, at least. And we have leveled up our scouting skill. 5% movement speed bonus on deserts and dunes and towns you govern give 2.5% more attacks. And if your party is more than 75%... Ooh! Yes, I will take this. Thank you very much. I think that is... that's actually something that I was talking about in a previous series, and I thought to myself, this is probably one of the worst perks ever. Because who in their right mind is going to have a party of more than 75% infantry? Well, me, that's who. Yes. Apparently me. That is of course the absolute imbecile that does have over 75% cavalry. 75% infantry. That is amazing. Yeah, I mean, you can see that quite clearly here, right? Don't we? Yeah, I think we quite easily have more than 75%. Anyway, let's go in here. See what we can do. Let's raid the village. And we are getting a massive... Look at our mercenary contract right now. Literally, if you are able to eliminate enemy parties, and I'm talking about vassals or just generally maybe caravans as well. I'm actually wondering whether caravans also contribute to the overall mercenary contract value. If it does, then that's pretty crazy if you think about it. Hurunag, hello Hurunag. I will be attacking you, sir. I hope you do not mind. I'm sure he does, but I am going to be attacking him. There we go. Hello there. Let's do this. 126 versus 115. By the way, I do have the ability to now field a massive amount more units. I have 157 maximum capacity in my army now, so I was actually hoping that we might be able to, you know, recruit some more people, but obviously that really very much depends on me being in friendly territory, and at the moment we're very much concentrating on raiding and pillaging as much as we possibly can, and obviously eliminating as many vassals as possible. So let me just see here. I do not want to die. Please do not kill me. So I would appreciate that. Let me just hide behind this rock, and I will crouch down like the brave man that I am. There we are. Okay, so these guys are going to kill me if I allow them to do so. If they get, you know, within range and I'm attempting to run at them or something with just a one-handed, it's more than likely that that's going to result in my demise. So I should be a little bit careful about that. Where are the enemy infantry? Oh, they're actually over there. They don't have too many ranged units, but bear in mind that most of their cavalry do have bows. So I would assume I'm probably going to die in this battle. I probably should have taken note of my HP, but I obviously forgot that when raiding, you don't gain any HP back. You don't regenerate it at all, which is definitely something I am a little bit irritated by, of course, but you gotta expect that, because, let's face it, it is very much an active, well, activity, I guess. It's an active thing for you to do, so it's not you taking a rest or anything like that, so it makes sense that you're not going to gain HP back in any way. But yeah, anyway, my cavalry are now going to charge in. Hopefully my other forces are actually going to... Could you start firing or throwing your throwing weapons, please? I would very much appreciate that. There we go, they're actually starting to do that. Nice kill. Oh, his head! We actually got his head off. That was crazy. Dismemberment, hello there. That very much helped us. Oh, that was great. I actually... No. Yeah, I think I'm going to die here. I am almost 100% certain that I will die here, but I'd like to survive just that little bit longer. Just for a couple more points of one-handed. Oh, I really wanted to kill this guy. Yeah, get him. Yes, I got him, and we died in slow motion. That was cool. Okay. Yeah, that was actually fantastic. Oh, look at this. I actually get the opportunity to play as a cavalry. That's pretty fun. I mean, usually we're not doing that in this series, so this is going to be interesting. Just bear in mind that I am absolutely terrible with using polearms when I've just started playing a particular character, so it generally takes me a little bit of time to get used to it, but maybe I'm going to be okay here. I mean, this polearm is pretty, well, unwieldy. Let's just say that. And it does seem to do some pretty decent damage, but not as much as what I would obviously be using at this point. Nice. Yeah, I'm super inaccurate as well with it. Well, thankfully my forces are doing a great job. The amount of thrown weapons that are impaled in the ground right now, very impressive. Just as impressive as my 1 damage. Yes, how fantastic. Well, I think that is indeed a victory for us, and that is Hurunag eliminated. Oh yes. And what else do these guys have? They have a... Oh, this is a pretty nice sword, actually. I wonder what that is. Can I, let me actually just get off real quick. I'm just going to drop this. It's a Fine Steel Paramerion. Okay. I have no idea what that is, but I guess it's good to know the name of the weapon, just in case I actually want to make it. At some point, we might be making something like that, because it seems like a pretty fun one-handed weapon. I mean, why not, right? Anyway, let's just take as much as we can here. I'm just going to take whatever I can, and then as soon as it starts to turn white, that's when I'll leave it. Wow, really? Just these? That's it? That's actually pretty crazy. Oh, wait a minute. The saddles actually make a difference? The saddles actually make a difference to the experience gain. I had no idea about that. Okay, well, that's good to know. Anyway, Onira has been taken back by the Southern Empire, which I suppose is pretty good. I have no idea who took it before. I think the Crusade, right? I think it must have been the Crusade. Hello there. Monchug is attempting to intercept us, but I will not allow him to do so. Not that easily, at least. And Ilatar is coming in from the side here as well, because they are attempting to ambush me, which is never going to work. I'm sorry to say. It's never going to work. We are just too quick on our feet, and they are running around with... well, they're running around with a lot of cavalry, but we have so many horses that I'm basically moving the exact same speed as someone that has an army of almost entirely cavalry, or at least I would expect that to be the case. Anyway, there we go. Let's sell some more prisoners for some roguery. There's another 4 skill points for that, and we are now going to sell a couple of things here just to make sure that we keep on top of it all. Sell all of that, thank you. And we probably also want to sell some of these cows and sheep and so on. We got some iron ore here as well as raw silk. Do we have anything else? Yeah, we got some things, but nothing too dramatic. Let's get a little bit more meat. Is there anything else I need? Yeah, grapes, I guess. Olives? I could get some olives and some date fruit and stuff like that. That's always welcome, I guess. Let's recruit some people. Because as you can see, my my army size is starting to dwindle a little bit, so it would be nice to sort of keep on top of that too. And it seems like Regea has taken Onira as her very own fief. Well, that is to be expected, I would assume, because it is a town. Oh, and now she's just been taken prisoner. Are you serious? She just gave herself that, and now she got herself taken prisoner. Well, that's not very good, is it? Oh well. I guess what can you do, eh? Sometimes you're just caught in... Oh! Wow. That is pretty interesting. That is pretty interesting. Oh yeah, that actually reminds me. Someone mentioned in the comments that maybe you'd like me to change the peace declaration setting so that they can make peace ahead of the war declaration timing. So for example, I told you previously that I set both settings up to be 60 days. So wars have to last 60 days at least, and peace agreements can only be made 60 days in between. So basically, you know, that also will take 60 days to come into effect. Which now that I think, now that I think about it, it actually does make quite a bit of sense what you're saying there, to change it so that they can make peace ahead of time. Because declaring wars, you know, we need them to make sure that they stick with the war declaration, but if they can make peace ahead of schedule, then I think that might give them a little bit more dynamicism, so it's going to make it a little bit easier for factions to not be at war against so many different people at the same time. For example, we are currently, I mean, we're currently at war against only 2 factions, but we were at war against 3. And obviously that makes a pretty big difference, and you can see here the same thing is happening with Britannia, same thing happening with the Northern Empire as well. As you can see, they're also at war against 2 factions. And, oh, same thing with the Western Empire too. So it seems like a lot of people are at war against multiple factions. Unfortunately, the Khuzait and the Aserai are only at war against the Southern Empire. So I think I probably need to do something about that. I think I need to start raiding some additional things, or I need to go down to Onira and see if I can maybe deal with the Aserai army. But the Aserai army is going to be very difficult to deal with at the moment. They are going to be very powerful, and it's going to be one of those situations where I go down there and there's nothing to be done because they're just so large. Their army is just going to be so large that it's going to be impossible for me to make any kind of impact unless I stick around and I wait for their army to be disbanded. If I do that, then I might have an opportunity. So I'm thinking we might try to do that. And along the way, I will continue to recruit troops as much as I possibly can. Melion Castle has just come under siege. Oh, hello there. Are you working in conjunction with the Aserai, sir? I think you are. I'm actually going to attempt to attack you, because this guy has Itaria as one of his prisoners, and I would like to be able to free her if at all possible. Bear in mind that this guy, in my opinion at least, is... I think personally this particular minor faction is not exactly the most powerful, so I'm pretty happy to maybe fight this guy, even though he has a pretty significant combat strength. He has 222 combat strength or something, and we have 250 or 260 or something like that. So he might be quite difficult, but I have faith in our wonderful thrown weapons and that they will be able to find their target extremely accurately and deadly, and hopefully they'll be able to do a good job. Anyway, let's just move our guys over here. Got a lot of cavalry right now. Gonna tell them to auto-delegate, because I don't really care that much about our cavalry, just bear that in mind. I really don't care about them as much as you'd think, because they are, I would say they're basically throwaway units. I don't want to say that they are throwaway units, but they basically are for me, because I personally would prefer to use my very own units. I think they are much more fun to watch in combat, but it's always nice to have a little bit of extra mobility. So that's the reason why I have a contingent of cavalry here. Obviously, I could make my own cavalry, but every single time I've tried to do that, in my troop tree, it has crashed. So it is probably a good idea to just leave things as they are until I can maybe figure that out. Or maybe it's just something I'm doing, maybe there's something I'm adding to the cavalry in particular that is causing some kind of conflict. But let's continue to move our infantry forward here. Let's move them over there. Let's put them into a loose formation as well. Loose formation, always a really good idea for pretty much every situation, with the exception of an enemy cavalry charge. If you have an enemy cavalry charge and they are charging right towards you, and you have basically only infantry, sometimes it's a good idea. I mean, it depends. If you have a lot of polearm users, then going into a shield wall formation, that's a good idea. But if you have very few polearm users and they are mostly skirmishers, like for example, that's what I'm using. I'm basically running around with a skirmisher army at this point, because these guys have mostly thrown weapons, and usually skirmisher units are going to use thrown weapons. And yeah, so that is probably the only time when I would say loose formation is not applicable. But that is obviously my own opinion. I have found a lot of success with loose formation, just primarily because it is able to allow cavalry through. Usually you don't want to allow cavalry through, but most of the time if you let them through, they're going to get slowed down so significantly that they're going to be able to get in through the first couple of units, but then they're going to get slowed down so significantly that they will then take so much damage from just wading through so many different lines of units that it eventually ends in their demise. For example, you can see here, look at this guy. He's gotten slowed down. He didn't take any damage now, but that was only due to luck. He literally turned at the last moment as soon as the thrown weapon was about to hit him, and his shield just managed to block it, which was very, very lucky for him. But, you know, that's still just a luck-based factor rather than any kind of skill there or any kind of formation issue. But yeah, I generally think that this formation is really nice for anything that has a ranged ability. You know, I should really go for two-handed. I'm going to go for two-handed. I'm going to go for two-handed after I fire off a bunch of my thrown weapons. There we go. Let's do this. Really wish I had a weapon that was capable of crushing through blocks. I remember back in Warband when you would be able to have a weapon that would do that, and you would literally be able to crush through people's shields as much as you wanted, basically, and it was super, super fun. Obviously in this, they do still have the crush through blocks, but it is very rare, and I think that's a good thing, because it does make it so that you have to choose very carefully what kind of weapon type you want to use, because it is one of those weapon types where it's like a sledgehammer, or it's like a very unwieldy polearm or something like that, and that's generally what you're going to be seeing with the crush through blocks trait. And that's the only thing you're really going to get with that on it. And those things are very difficult to use, extremely difficult to use, and well, that's the trade-off, you know? That's the trade-off. You either have a weapon that is relatively fast and easy to use, or you have something that requires just that little bit more skill with the timing, and then have the ability to crush through blocks with your overhead attack. So there's obviously that. And if you do have that, then make full use of it, because the crush through blocks thing, that they are not going to expect that, and shields are very, very powerful in Bannerlord, as you've no doubt already seen. Most shields can take an absolute battering before they get destroyed. We're going to tell everyone to charge now, and I'm just going to zoom things up, and that's going to be it. And then I will have rescued Itaria, and she's obviously going to be very pleased about that, hopefully. And there we have it. Very nice indeed. And we didn't allow anyone to escape either. Very nice. Okay, so there you go. So Itaria, yes, you are freed. Your captivity has ended, and I'm just going to say no thanks are necessary. There we go. And now we do have the opportunity to take a couple of units and you rescue them. I will be doing this, but only in the case of very high tier cavalry. That's the only way I'm going to be taking any units from here. Yeah, I think we found out that caravan guards are actually pretty good in Bannerlord, so I will be taking those, and I'll take all the other guys as well. Should we take the Imperial Equites? I don't know. Is it actually a good idea? I don't think so, personally. I'm gonna just leave them the way they are for the moment, and we will just be taking all of the rest of this stuff. We do have quite a few recruits this time, so that's the reason why the experience is so dramatically more than it was beforehand. And we're just going to take all of this. There we are. And there we go. Okay, 8,800. Very nice. Oh, he actually died! He actually died in that battle. Okay, that might be problematic. We might get a crash as a result of that once I start moving. No. Okay. Phew. Okay, because obviously sometimes when a clan is eliminated or when some vassal is killed in action, usually, some of the time, they do tend to cause a crash to happen, which thankfully did not happen this time. Anyway, there we go. Let's just sell all of that. That's another 5,000. I almost have 1,000,000 gold. I don't know whether you've noticed that, but it's been slowly creeping up over this whole time, and I'm still surprised how that has happened, because I guess it's just me being a mercenary, right? It's just me being a mercenary, and that's pretty much all that it has been so far. Pretty crazy. Anyway, we have another vassal over here that is attempting to potentially do something. Honoratus is obviously trying to intercept the enemy army. Ah, hello there. Oh, well, this is going to be a pretty easy victory for us by the looks of things. There we go. Let's just go for a nice little auto-resolve. Why not? I'm kind of a bit wary now about going into actual battles that are army versus army, because whenever I do that now, I'm always half thinking that the game is going to crash over and over again. So whenever these kinds of things happen, I might just auto-resolve if we are going to win. You know, assuredly if we're going to win. But if it's going to be a close run battle, then I will go in and we'll fight it out. And we'll see what happens there. But Onira, how many do they only have 160. They only have 160. I should be able to take this if I leave and I just go straight in and I just do this off my own back. I might be able to create my own faction. I don't know whether that's going to be possible, though. I mean, they don't have anything really that good. I mean, they have 14 Master Archers and they have 13 Heavy Cavalry. Those are the only things that are really going to provide any kind of challenge for us. But bear in mind that if I do this, we will have basically nothing to defend ourselves with. And I would assume that many of the enemies nearby are going to try and congregate around here, and they're going to do a lot of damage to us. So it might be way too risky at the moment. Anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.